It's,
Good evening, everyone.
oh my goodness. There we go.
Nick,
Every time I keep forgetting.
We need to, like, as soon as the show comes on, put on a banner across there that says unmute.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I, do you know what? I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
Yeah.
As
Uh,
long as you're not looking off somewhere else, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
well, you never know.
And
Not,
Joanne,
not when
Go
Nick
ahead.
is on the docket.
she's asking about my grandson.
Yeah,
He's,
so what's going on with that?
Yeah,
yeah,
what's
well, you
happening?
remember he had the procedure a while back. They
Yes.
put a loop in his heart and like implanted something right under his chest to monitor because they were supposed to do an ablation and reset his heart as well. And he didn't have that arrhythmia while
What's up,
that was
Scott?
going on.
What's up, ladies?
um, so he didn't have that while he was under. I guess maybe the anesthetic, we don't know. But so they put that heart monitor in. Well, today, and he's on heart medication. That heart medication causes him to get very dizzy. And he he's had dizzy spells for 5 years or so now. And they said that's not connected to the heart. They don't know what's causing that. And the older he gets, he's passing out with these spells now. And now with the medication, it's even worse. But we don't know what happened today because he was on the merry-go-round and he hit his friend's knee into his chest,
Ooh.
but it didn't hit where that monitor is. It hit the center, like straight center of his chest. And he said that he started getting real dizzy after that, was able to make it to class, laid down on his desk, made it out of class, and he couldn't walk any further and just kind of got down on the floor. And when they called his mom, he couldn't hold his head up. He knew what was going on around him, but he could not function. So his mom got a little worried. She didn't want to take him to the next town because they live in a tiny town. And she didn't want to take him to the next town by herself and have him, code or something. So they called the ambulance. And the funny thing was, they did an EKG and sent him home. This is still not telling us what is causing these dizzy spells. So she has a call in to his cardiologist, but he's 13. He plays football, which that might be out and done now.
I'm
All
sure
kinds
that,
of things just aren't adding up.
I'm sure that being on the merry-go-round probably didn't help.
Yeah.
Is that alone will make you dizzy? And, that kind of emotion.
But this isn't the first time he's been on it since.
So that could explain.
Oh, well.
It's really bizarre.
Were they able to remove it? Yeah, I don't. I really, I just wish that they would do a little more digging as to what is causing the dizzy spells. I'm glad this caused them to find the heart issue, but and they said he might outgrow that heart issue, but he would never outgrow the dizzy spells. Why? If you know that, why can't you tell us what's causing it? I don't
Well,
get it.
when my dad was having his heart problems a couple of years ago, um, he didn't say anything about being dizzy, but his senses just went into overdrive, and he could hardly stand on his own power. And that was the day that we found out that he had to have a pacemaker.
Yeah, see, that's the way he is. He when he gets this way, but he would complain of dizzy spells from about the time he was 6 years old. But they never got to the point of debilitating. Now they're completely debilitating. They're only getting worse. I can't imagine what would, what else. And it seems to be the thing for like hearts. I don't know. Um, Over the weekend, Dad had there was pounding on the floor, which is the message to, hey, come up here.
Yeah.
Well, half the time we have to kind of stop because they drop a can or something, and we're tired of running back and forth. But it was Mom was pounding, and I just nonchalantly went up there thinking we got a package or something, and she's screaming, I need help. And I'm looking for her on the floor because usually it's her. And it was Dad. She's sitting next to him, and she goes, he just had a seizure. And I'm confused because he doesn't have seizures.
I still can't
And
believe they never checked his head.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm looking. I'm like, okay, he's pale white. And so, I'm on the phone with 911. What I didn't know was he'd already told her he ain't going if somebody calls 911. He had the coherency to say that. And so Zach is up there with him. As soon as he's able to come around enough to walk around, he goes and hides behind his bed and tries to get under it because he ain't going. He don't want the ambulance to see him. Get your fucking ass up out of there. So, and he tells him, I'm not going. Okay, well, they can't force him. So a couple hours later, he decided, okay, I'll go. And they did, whatever they do, but never checked his head. So they don't believe he had a seizure, but he was acting almost stroke-like, but no lasting effects. So we still don't know. They said that it could be because he has restless leg. Restless leg does not control your whole body and
Did
go into
did they
seizures.
check his blood sugar?
I'm sure they did.
Because many years ago, my mom, her blood sugar went way down, and the way that she was acting was like if she had had a stroke.
Yes, yes. I do know that they do that. But this was just she said it was just like shaking, just violently shaking his whole body. I'm used to him doing that with his legs because he does have restless leg where it'll just kick all the way up and back down. But he's on some pills now that help that. But this wasn't restless leg. No way.
Huh,
They
well,
asked him what year it was.
all kinds
First
of
time,
medical crap happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
The first time he said it was 2005, which, okay, I can understand that. He just come out of this. He's close. He just forgot the two. It's okay. The next time it was 1955.
Hmm.
Well, now we got a problem. But yeah, it's he's back to normal now, but all kinds of scary, nasty stuff going on.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's wow. Well, I just had an appointment with Angelia yesterday. This is one that we have been trying to get for years. Finally, did an EEG on her. Um, I wasn't particularly looking forward to that because she does not like things on her head.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, I had to hold her hands down. And no, normally, when they do EEGs, they have you sit in a chair. But this time, they actually had her like on one of the preparation beds that they do for surgery.
Mhm.
That made it a little easier, but she still tried to get up. I was able to push her back down before she pulled anything off.
I'm surprised
Luckily,
they did her a
yeah,
little bit.
luckily nothing came off. Then we went through the whole 30 minutes without any interruptions.
Oh wow, that's a long time to have
Yeah, it
something sitting
really
in
is.
your head.
Well, that's how long it takes to get a proper EEG.
I'm surprised they didn't sedate her a little or something.
You can't.
Yeah.
Can't. In fact, one of their prep things is that she has to have less than 4 hours sleep the night before.
That's awful.
Yeah, it
That's
really is.
Well, it is, but it was different because the last time we did an EEG on her, we did not have that kind of restriction on her. She was able to go to bed, get up in the morning. I took her straight over, did it. This time they said she has to have less than 24 or less than 4 hours sleep. And I thought, yeah, this is not going to be good. So,
somebody's got to keep her up.
well, there was one way to keep her up, and that was not give her her night medicine.
Uh,
And she stayed up all night. So Monday she was awake about 7ish in the morning, stayed up all night, all day yesterday. I fed her I fed her supper at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. It was not 10 minutes after that she was already passing out.
she's
No,
like, okay, my belly's full, my stuff's done, I'm out.
Well,
yeah,
see that's the thing. It came on her really quick. She was moving about, and I was getting ready to go home, so I went into her bedroom. She was already lying on her back on the floor, about
Oh.
scared the shit out of me.
I can imagine.
Did
But
she
I
usually climb in the bed herself?
normally she does, but she was just laying on the floor. She was playing with the rags that she carries around with her. So I pulled her by her hand, and it it was like she was completely out of it. So
Yeah.
Oh
And
okay,
she's
man.
getting big to be picking up.
Yeah, yeah.
she's not quite 100 pounds.
But she's still not a baby size either.
No, she's not. She's not baby size. So put her in bed. Now this is before 7 p.m. She got up at 8 a.m. this morning.
Wow.
Slept that entire time.
Don't blame her.
Yeah, especially being up for so late. I mean, for so long. Yeah, she deserves a good nap rest after all that.
Yeah, but that's never happened before. Her sleeping that long.
Yeah,
She,
yeah,
Has she ever stayed up that long though?
if she doesn't get her medicine, yeah.
Yeah.
But there have been times where she did get her medicine and she's still up. Somehow she's able to fight off the effects of those pills.
Yeah. It's mindset. That's like I said, I can take that NyQuil and or melatonin. I have to take them both together.
Yeah.
For a long time, I took melatonin and Benadryl to go to sleep. Well, after a while, that didn't work. But you take melatonin, you push through that, you're done. It's not going to work.
yeah.
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 I take ZQuil, but that's only when I need to.
Yeah.
And if I
I
can ensure that I get to bed at about 2 hours, I do okay.
yeah. Yeah, I have to get in bed when it starts because if I push through any medication, I'm up. That's it.
Well, for me, it usually takes about 2 hours before I start feeling the effects.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's so different for everyone.
gummy bears, though.
Yeah. I was just it's funny you mentioned that because I was just looking that up and all of a sudden the first thing that showed up was like cherry flavored melatonin gummies.
I used to take those, yeah.
Yeah,
But they're usually 5 milligrams,
I was
3
gonna
or
say, I used
5. They're
to
usually,
yeah, I used to take them too, but they weren't gummies though. They were just tablets that just were cherry
yeah,
flavored.
Well, don't
yeah.
get that 500 milligram gummy she's got hanging on the wall, however much that thing is.
I, oh, I'm not sure how many milligrams that is, or that's a lot of sugar. That keep you up for a long time.
I was gonna say, yeah, that'll keep you up.
Well, I'm sure the stuff that's in it is probably broken down enough to where it wouldn't have an effect. Because you've had that up there for years.
Oh, yeah, that's just a regular gummy bear.
Tom
There's nothing
takes
to
10
it.
Tom says he takes 10
I
milligrams.
do too. I do too. And if you are you the same way? If you push through that where you first start getting tired, you're done. There's no coming back from that.
Yeah, that's When I first start getting tired, I'll wait about 10, 15 minutes, and then up I go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've been getting up and going to the gym at 4 o'clock each morning. We get up at 4
4
Yeah.
at the
a.m.
gym at
Wow.
5 when it opens. And it actually is the first week or so, it was like, ugh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to get up this. I don't want to do this. But after about a week, it's like, okay, let's do this. And it gets you started for the day because we go work out. He does his pickleball. I go down into the weight room and do the weights, do the cardio, and then we meet at the pool at 6 and we'll do our laps at the pool, go shower, we're ready for the day. So it's become a good motivator
Well, that's
is
good.
what it is. Yeah.
I would
This
love to have
week,
a pool.
this week has been awful though. One of us didn't feel good, then the other one was hurt, and we just didn't. This week sucked. We didn't go. And I'm telling you, I feel
How
it.
is the weather?
Oh, the weather's been great. It's in the 70s.
I wish I could say the same over here. It was just raining and snowing here yesterday.
You got the snow?
Yeah, we had the snow too.
Okay, we missed out on that one.
Oh yeah, it was raining most. It was raining most of the time. Then it like transitioned, went from rain to
Oh, wow.
sleet to snow, and then after a few minutes, it was over with. And now it's just been in the 40s.
Yeah, we
See,
never got the snow. It went all north of us.
Oh,
We did
Thompson
get the
makes
rain.
3 of them.
yeah, no, we had, oh, golly. No, it's been 70s. It did get like in the 20s one night, but we got nothing. There were some flurries, but nothing stuck. It was like for 10 minutes. That was last week. It's been in the 70s this week. I've had all the windows open in the house. And then we're going to Kansas this weekend. And it's going to be in the 80s. So,
Yeah, right now, I mean, I'm even looking at the weather currently. Yeah, right now it's in the 40s, but it feels like it's the 30s. So I don't think we're going to have any of that warm weather anytime soon.
It's 42 right now, and before I found out we were supposed to get the rain yesterday, I was planning on mowing the yards today or this weekend. And because it rained yesterday, I know that wasn't going to happen. And now I'm seeing that we have a chance of rain on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, all next week, and rain mixed with snow next Friday.
I was going to say with most of this rain, I mean, yeah, you have to remember, I mean, we are in April, so April's showers, but the snow and stuff, though.
Crying out loud, give us a break so that we can mow our yard so it
Yeah, I
looks.
know. We haven't even gotten started with mowing the grass yet. It hasn't
Yeah,
even
I
been
was
our
out
season yet.
watering the last 2 days. And I'm like, stop watering.
Yeah,
Well,
Tom, you probably missed the snow. May have missed your area, but we had the snow last night.
what's funny, just outside this window right here, a few years ago, I don't think I ever told you guys this, but a few years ago, I found a section of my wooden fence that was not anchored into the ground, not connected to anything. It was just leaning against the chain link fence of the neighbors. So I pulled it out and leaned it up against another section of my wooden fence. At some point over the winter, it blew over. I never knew it. A couple of days ago, I picked it up and leaned it back against the fence, and with it raining, now you can see the complete difference in the grass. All the grass is dark green, but the grass that was underneath that fence is light green. It's
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
it was like how it looks on the driveway when it rains. Everything is all dark, and where your car is parked is all light and everything. It's pretty funny looking
Braxton,
at.
who is
Hey,
that? That's a
Braxton's
new
here.
one.
Good to see you, Braxton.
That's a new one. Hey.
Actually, no, he's he's a follower most of the time with Don with his show Fear Fans, and he usually
Okay, that's
watches
a
a
new
lot.
one for me, though.
Well, no, I was gonna say he often usually watches just Fear Fans and like his live and Don's live streams, but now he's been expanding out to other shows here on this network. So good to see you, Braxton. It's
So
all the way from Louisiana.
Oh, what's the weather there?
I was just there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, well, yeah, for your bowling league.
Yeah. I still can't believe my bowling is done for the year.
Well, yeah.
It is very done. It is very done.
I have been so used to going like later May, June, and July these last several years, and now here I am. I done it in March, and it's holy shit! I don't have to bowl for the next 9. Well, technically, I don't have to bowl for 14 months,
Jeez.
but I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be waiting on that. I'm going to try to sneak in some bowling at the beginning of the season, which is September.
And
Want to go?
I was just
I want to
bowling,
go do that.
and I was just bowling a few nights ago.
From a
Yeah.
wheelchair.
Yeah, from a
Yeah,
wheelchair.
you get better in the wheelchair than I do standing on both my legs.
I saw that comment.
Yeah, I saw it too.
I guarantee you, he did. But you know what? It is still fun to go do, regardless how well you do. It's
Yeah,
still
well,
fun.
when we walked in at first, I mean, we couldn't bowl it in the beginning because it was a Saturday night we went in, and turned out there was a kid's birthday party. So, but it turned out they were going to clear up around like 8 o'clock that evening, and so
What did you get there?
we just ended up hanging out at the bar, and I just got a drink there, but we didn't see it at first. I had to also bring the crutches with too. And I didn't see until later that there was also a ramp nearby, which made things so much more easier.
Right.
Oh.
Oh, Braxton,
Yeah.
honey, I really, I
Yeah,
love your
they've
respect.
really,
Yeah,
I
I
really
drove
do.
through that storm.
yeah, they've
But,
really been
honey-
getting hit hard.
I love your respect. I do. But honey, let's drop the ma'am. Yes, I'm old. I get it. But
Adrian doesn't like that.
my
yeah.
my mouth is usually a 16-year-old. So yeah, my brainwaves usually are too.
I guess I should have told you a while back, Braxton.
Hey, I have been filtered
Hey,
tonight.
Her mouth is anything but ma'am.
Yeah, they're
Your mouth is what?
Filtered.
Oh,
Is
If
anything
you don't
but
leave this
ma'am.
room, it won't be. He's on my shit list right now.
When is he never on your shit list?
Good boy, but he's on my shit list today. What are you mumbling?
He probably is.
Yeah.
Couple days ago was Eileen's birthday,
Yep.
and then
She
it was
is now 50.
I thought she was 24. She was going to be
He's
24.
50.
and also it was Robert's birthday. I
That's
have
right.
expected him to be on here tonight, but
You know what? I saw a little thing where Robert was showing his Fitbit or his watch, whatever. He's doing really good on his walking.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
I'm proud of him. You know who I have not seen in a while is
Oh.
y'all know I just left work. My brain is not working. Our main guy from Down Under. I know.
oh, Nick.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Robert is from Down Under.
Yeah, he is.
Braxton. Are you sure I'm old enough to be Braxton?
Yeah, he says it's a southern thing. He is from Louisiana.
No, I understand the southern thing. I lived in Kentucky. I get the southern thing, but sweetheart, what makes you think I'm old enough to be your mama? Let's have that discussion.
Braxton, now you just got on her shit list.
I want to hear this.
Hey, Sean.
Um,
Is there a part 3 on the tornadoes?
Sean, no, unfortunately, I
Oh.
had a. Okay, so I guess he never got a word. I was supposed to do it last week, and I was hoping to do it this week. I had to push back part 3 about the tri-state tornado slideshow because last week I had a work-related accident and was injured on the job. So I have to push back. I'm hoping to finally get part 3. This will be the final part of the slideshow. I'm hoping to have it to do so next Wednesday. So wait till next Wednesday, Sean, and we should be all set.
what
So-
is it with what is it with all of our people getting hurt on the job? I started this damn thing.
Yeah, really. And I've worked in my job for what's up, Mimi? I've worked there for 10 years, and that was my very first work accident.
I get hurt on the job. We got a serious damn problem because my job's here at home.
Here's your answer, Adrian from Braxton.
You know what? I will give you all the respect in the world for putting it that way.
Okay.
He's got to do something to
Very
save
well.
face.
Huh?
He's got to do something to save face. He may become our new Brad.
He probably could.
Actually, that was very well worded. That was very intelligently worded, and I will give him all the respect in the world for that.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I
And
always
yes,
appreciate
sweetheart,
it a lot. Always
I'm
appreciate it
50. I'm old enough to be your mama,
a lot.
but I can also probably outdrink you.
Speaking of Brad, he was keeping me updated last couple of days. Because while he and Kelly personally weren't affected, but their town was affected by the recent flooding
Yeah.
that's been going
Yeah.
on. And as most people know, that Ernie and Denise were
Yep.
very affected. They got lucky.
Very lucky. Yeah, I was saying to Jeremy before we started that I haven't watched their lives from today, but I've been following them for the last few days with their lives and
The
just
water was starting
getting higher and
surround their
higher. Now finally seeing that it's receding.
Yeah, it was starting to surround their house. It was actually up the side of the house.
It got up to their shed.
Sean,
This is
I'm sorry, it's been a long day.
beyond the shed
Yeah,
Remind me,
into the house.
where do you work?
Drink till I'm cute.
Darling, you've always been cute.
And Braxton here says,
Okay, Scott.
yeah, I don't want to look like an unfinished product. Thanks, Braxton. I appreciate it.
Scott, that begs the question: Are you saying that we need to drink until you're cute?
Oh, damn, you're no fun.
He works at his church. Okay. Let's go back to this quickly.
Okay, why was I
We
thinking?
need to get our beer goggles on.
Why was I thinking warehouse for
Whoa.
some reason?
Wow. I can understand that.
Why was I thinking warehouse? I don't know. Can you tell what they're saying?
So the water is finally receding. It seemed like that their town was turning into an island.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
Brad is he's been through enough. He doesn't need.
Well, he actually had to take a detour at one point, going from one place back to the house because the road was all flooded. He was sending me a bunch of pictures, but
Awesome.
it wasn't anywhere near as bad as what Ernie and Denise were getting.
And a lot of that water, obviously, from Ernie and Denise's area, a good majority of it was coming from the Ohio River and also.
It was all coming from the Ohio. The Ohio
Oh.
River is their backyard.
Well, no, it was not just. There's also a secondary river, which is the Salt River, but that's literally nothing more than just a tributary to the Ohio River. But yeah, it was not looking good for the last, for a number of days. But yeah, it was becoming like an island, and
They
already some
expected
houses
to
were
crash on Monday.
yeah, and already some of those houses were completely submerged.
Yeah, they were expecting it to crash Monday, but it didn't do it until Wednesday night. So uh, that's how bad it was. It said that it was about the same as what it was about 30 years ago.
Yeah, 1997.
Yeah.
Although I think they said this might have been what might have even been a little worse than the flood of 97.
Well, it was reminding me a lot of what the Mississippi River flooded in.
Yeah.
Oh, when was that bad one?
Was
Like,
it
Last
90, 91?
93.
Okay.
yeah, I wanted to say early 90s.
And then, of course, it flooded again in the southern Illinois area, in Alton, in fact, it was either 2018 or 19 that it flooded. And
Remember
I'm
that?
really, I'm really surprised that the state of Kentucky, as well as because just across the river you have southern Indiana. It's surprising that the states of Indiana and Kentucky are not concerned about maybe building levees after that whole flooding situation.
They should probably do something about that because when you look at major rivers like Mississippi and Ohio,
Yeah.
when you get something like that, holy shit.
You remember when we were talking about this was 2 weeks ago when we talked about that town Cairo in southern Illinois, the southernmost
Yeah.
town in the state? I cannot even imagine how flooded that town must have got. Because again, as I said before, that's where the Ohio and Mississippi rivers meet. So imagine the amount of flooding that must have occurred throughout Cairo.
Well, everybody needs to take this flooding seriously because there was like right down from Estes, there was flooding less than 10 years ago, and I don't know exactly, I wasn't here, but there is a friend of Zach's. They went out looking, and there was a lady got swept away. They never found her. To this day, they have not found her, and it's been at least 7 years.
Jeez.
I don't know how long, but at least 7 years. Yeah, Rex and me too now because I'm trying to lose weight. But the reason I said that was because, yeah, I don't do sodas either, ever.
I do, but not as frequently.
I just don't. I don't do sugar, but and that's a personal choice. It's not. Thank goodness I'd be 300 pounds. But the reason I said that was because at one point we had a guy that thought he called me grandma. Now, mind you, at this point I was only 45. He called me grandma. And I said, this grandma will drink your ass under the table. Well, this guy did weigh 370 pounds. And
Oh, that guy.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we went on a paranormal event. And I told him, I said, I'll buy rounds. Let's go. You choose. And he chose, which I have never to this day drank that again, but he chose Fireball.
Fireball.
All right. I bought Fireball for all the paranormal crew. Let's do this. We sang karaoke. We had fun. I look over, and
So
that little fucker is passed.
Touchdown.
There we go. There we go.
I was
Never
about
mind.
to say, what the hell was that?
Go on. Go on.
JT. He was passed out on the bar bench. And he bet me money that he could drink me under the table.
He owed you probably quite the amount of money for that.
I never got my money. But you know what I did get? Was a picture of him laying there, passed the hell out. And I got pictures of him the next day going, oh, I don't want to do this.
He was about to have his personal paranormal experience after he called you grandma.
Yeah,
Well, he
yeah.
ended up not being, the nicest of people.
No, but I will always love that, he was in his 20s at the time and thinking that he could one up me. Honey, you're only as old as you feel.
To go back what Sean was saying, because this was talking about the weather. Yeah, Sean, I'm very well aware about the tornadoes in Arkansas. Yeah, they had some
Yeah.
monster ones that occurred those last few days, especially
Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas,
Yeah.
Kentucky.
well,
All those are terrible.
Arkansas, Lake City had one of the worst ones. They had like a half-mile wide multiple vortex tornado.
Have y'all been watching Ernie's Lives?
What's that?
Ernie's Lives?
Yeah. Oh, Ernie.
Yeah, have you been
Oh,
watching
it's-
his
There he
lives?
is. There he is.
He
So
he's showing, which he got to show the last time, the last one I saw anyway. I don't know if it was the last post, but where somebody had a drone and he couldn't get to the other side of town to show, but like people's houses. And I mean, he was walking by. And when I lived in Kentucky, I remember this because our house flooded. It was down in the valley. And that's why we got this old farmhouse we rented it, but it was really cheap because it floods. And you could see the leaves still where they had dried about 3 foot up. And the whole place was stone. There was no wood. There was wood, but it was behind the stone. And it was horsehair and mud for insulation. It was old. It was like 150 years old, 30 years ago. But he was showing the house, walking down the street or driving down the street, I think. You could see it going in the door, like it was up to the porch door. I feel so bad for all their belongings.
I know.
Yeah,
That's why each time I was tuning into their lives,
Yeah.
like I said, when the water was originally starting to be, rushing up, not gonna lie, I was starting to get a lot more nervous for them. I really was.
Well, the bad part is, you can see it, but unless you're there or have experienced it, it's unreal because the amount of damage that just a little bit of water will do to the foundation, to the, it creeps up the walls in the wood and oh gosh.
I can tell you this. I've actually gone through a flood. One time I was displaced by a flood.
I love it, Braxton.
Oh, this? What did you say?
So this was
Oh my
over
God.
20 years ago, and our house was completely surrounded by
Crack.
water. The only thing that saved our house was the cross.
Stages, right?
And we couldn't get back into the house for a couple of weeks because of how bad it was. You could take out the air ducts and the water was right there. It was less than an inch from actually reaching our carpet.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm gonna have to use that saying there, Braxton, because all my brothers and sisters on my mom's side, except for me, I'm the only white one. So I'm gonna have to use that. They're all black. So
And Sean
I'm gonna have to use it.
Sean does make a good point. Flooding sometimes does more damage than a tornado can. Because, even if when you have a flood that reaches up to your house, even if it just covers the floor, people would just think, oh, it's just going to wet the floor. It's not going to be that big of an issue. Actually, no, there's more to it.
That is the problem.
Then you got mold afterwards. And, and especially if you're living like on a hillside, like where it's nothing but soil and stuff, the ground is saturated then.
Just like here. And it was a structural issue. It had nothing to do with an actual flood. It rained. And all of the water came in Zach's office. And it was mud. Like you could see the mud coming through the walls. You know what damage that's doing, in between the walls.
Nope, absolutely not. Breaking news today: a helicopter crashed into the
Oh,
Hudson River.
yes.
Wait, what?
A
Uh,
helicopter crashed into the Hudson River.
Oh,
New
I didn't
York
hear
City,
anything about
right?
that.
New York City. Um, the last
Mother,
report.
father, 3 children, and a pilot?
Ah,
Yep,
jeez.
all six
Horrible.
of them
Unreal.
died. Yeah. Um,
Oh
some people
gosh.
were saying that it was missing the tail. I don't know if that's true or not, but some people were saying that it was missing the tail and it just came right down into the river.
Wow.
I'm just glad you all are okay because that shit's expensive. I mean, just even losing a computer.
Had to
And
turn the
I
breaker off.
I
I
can't imagine.
remember
Yeah, no heat.
I actually
No
remember from one of
fireplace
Ernie's
in
I
that house.
remember one of Ernie's lives that he was saying that they had to turn the heater off so it was cold in the house.
Oh, I can't imagine. That's
Yep, they
awful.
can, Ernie, with the flooding. They had 3 tornadoes. Yeah, that's the other thing. Again, with these tornadoes, in addition to these floods, they had tornadoes. Too. In fact, I didn't even tell you guys this. I had my friend. She sent this to me. Do you guys know there's actually something now known because it does happen? You guys ever heard of what's known as a TORF warning? You guys ever heard of it? It's TORFF. Is that
Oh,
I
No.
can't remember the actual full name of it. That is when you have both a tornado and flash flood at the same area in progress. And that's like
uh,
truly double trouble. So it's like, what do you do at that point? You can't go to the basement because you're at risk of drowning, from floodwaters. Of course, you can't stay up
no, I
high.
haven't heard that.
Yeah, of course, you can't stay up. I mean, you can't really be out in an exposed area because you got a tornado. So the only way that you could defend yourself and survive these two natural disasters together is just a simple thing: get into an interior room, closet, room with no windows. That's all you can do to protect yourself from both a tornado and flash flood.
You're screwed at that point.
You're
Right.
really screwed. But yeah, there's a new term now called a TORF. I think it's tornado. It's either tornado and flash flood warning. I'm gonna have to look that up, but it's a new term that they're using.
I think it's tornado.
Flash flood or
No.
yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Stuff is no joke. None of it. And people think, okay, yeah, so it was a flood. If you've ever seen one or been in one and seen the things that they've
Yeah,
lost, it's unreal. That uh,
National Weather
Louisiana,
Service.
when
National Yeah, National
when I
Weather
was
Service
in
is National Weather Service from the website. It is tornado and flash flood warning. That's what
okay, yeah, yeah. When I was in New Orleans taking down the FEMA trailers, I tell you what, and I didn't see the actual flood. I This was 5 years later, and 5 years later, still finding bodies is like, are you kidding me? Because we had to carry body bags at that
Oh
point.
God, that's horrible.
5 years later, thank goodness I never found one. I did not. But you saw especially down in the Ninth Ward, you would see homes with spray
Oh,
paint, and it would say like it would be a cross, and it would say like 5,
free tetanus shots.
5, 5,
Yeah,
and
they,
then
they were
3.
definitely to do that.
Yeah, Dixie Alley. That's right, Braxton.
So it was how many people lived there, how many people were found, how many pets lived there, and how many pets were found living or dead, didn't matter. Found. And just to see that was like, wow. And most of them, the numbers didn't match at all.
They
So,
probably, they probably never will match. Um, when you have something on that grand of scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mother Nature has just been really, really weird.
I looked up. I remember following again with what was happening in Lake City, Arkansas. That was again one of the worst hits of the tornado, which again, so far they're still trying to conduct surveys, but it's at least at an EF3 rating. But the path it was taking, though, it was pretty scary for the most part because it literally ripped apart Lake City and it was heading northeast, just missing the town of Monette. And I mean, those people who were in the path of this were damn lucky. Fortunately, it looked like it stayed mostly out in rural areas, but still, the people that were hitting Lake City it was a disaster. It was really bad. And yeah, Braxton said flooding has also been bad down in South Louisiana. There were caskets floating
Yeah.
along the waters.
I do know that they told us in New Orleans that there was no caskets buried. They had to be in like entombed up top. And when we went to go see, there's two famous cemeteries there, and of course one of them has the famous witch, and I will forever be thankful I got to go put something on her grave. But anyway, they are not buried because at one point they did rise, and now other places are having things rise. I can't imagine having your loved one risen.
Yeah.
I mean, that. Okay, so you may not see it. You may not be the one dealing with it, but to know, granted, we know their soul's not there. It is just skin and bones. That's all it is. But some people, that bothers them a lot.
See, in Arkansas, it's beautiful around late October. Oh, I'm sure it is. Foggy and misty around nighttime. Still, how the roads, or you have to watch how you drive during both day and night. Okay.
My sister lives in Arkansas, and she's trying to come down. I think in July. She's wanting to go up four-wheeling with her four-wheelers in the mountains, which I'd love to go do.
There's no guarantee there won't be any snow.
Yeah.
It snows all the way up to May. Well, when we went and got Nate and Abby last year, when Jan was sick, it was cold, and there was some places that were just so cold. It was July or August, I can't remember. August? And down here it was like 100. And you go up in the mountains and it was like 30. I'm like,
Well, it's a higher
no,
elevation.
I don't care. That's bullshit.
It's
No.
not just a higher elevation.
It was very high. But we do plan on going up.
The weather system.
Yeah, we do plan on going up sometime this summer and getting in one of the utes and just having the river and learning to fly fish. That's my goal. Shelters.
So other things that have popped up on the news has got a lot of people in a frenzy because scientific fact and scientific fiction. So,
and some confuse the two.
Yeah, and others don't research to confirm.
Are you talking about direwolf?
Yes, I am.
I figure that's what you were talking
That
about.
baby is so damn cute, I would take it home.
The dire wolf went extinct, they said 10,000 years ago.
Yeah, okay, yeah, yep, I know exactly. The dire wolves. I saw an article about that just last night.
Yeah, so the true dire wolf are like twice the size of a regular wolf. So they said. And now by using DNA extraction from some tooth that they found in Utah or Montana,
It's one of the two
Yeah.
states.
and what they did was this is what got me was that they inserted this DNA and got a gray wolf pregnant, and when the cubs were born, now automatically they're dire wolves. But no, it's not.
They said they have dire wolf DNA in them.
Yes, that doesn't make them 100% dire wolf. You are
No.
not going to know for sure unless that thing is full grown, and that's not going to be for another year and a half. So
Maybe
if
2
it
years.
comes up to be 4 feet tall or however tall an actual dire wolf was,
Well, here's the thing. If we don't quit fucking around with nature, like actual nature, if we don't quit fucking around with it, we're going to end up dead.
we're going to have Jurassic Park.
I was just
That
I
ended
literally
in
was just gonna say that, Jerry. I was just thinking of Jurassic Park immediately.
We're going to have Jurassic Park, and we're going to have Michael Crichton to thank for that.
Yeah, that's right.
But I'm going to tell you what. Wolves as a species, if in any part of the DNA of a dire wolf is anything like our wolves now, besides larger, wolves are amazing animals. They are absolutely amazing. The wolf, I want to say between 11 and 12 when I would walk home to my grandma's once a week on Wednesdays for church choir. Oh, believe it or not, yes, I was in church choir. But that was a long time ago. But
And
the
you're
zoo,
still around.
our zoo was like a mile down the road from my grandma's house. And I was walking home from school. I had to have been 11 because I was still at that school. Yeah. So I'm walking home from school. This dog walks up to me, right? Dog. And
Oh, I remember
I
this
grabbed the
story.
dog. Huh?
I remember this story.
Yeah. So I'm like, come on, let's go. I take my backpack, wrap it around its neck, the part that goes on your shoulders, take it around its neck and say, let's go. Take it to my grandma's house. My grandma's like, no, dogs don't need to come in here. The old woman can barely see anyway. And she's like, no, dogs don't come in the house. I said, I'll sit outside with it. And about that time, my dad come to get me. Right? My dad come to get me, and he's like,
Oh God.
back away from that animal. Like, and now mind you, he's a vet, and he's also a volunteer vet for our zoo. He says, back away from that animal now. And I'm like, it's a sweet dog. Why? He says, just back away from the animal now. So I step back a little ways, and here comes the pound with those huge, that rod with the leash on the end of it. What happened to Nick? Nick, what the fuck did you do this time? Anyway.
There he is.
Sorry, that was good. It was after you sent the message in the private chat, I was trying to go back to the comments, and then I accidentally pressed the arrow.
Don't touch anything.
Corner.
Put your hands in your lap. Put your hands in your lap. Don't move them.
This is only supposed to happen when you're on your phone, Nick.
Well, first time ever on the computer.
Hands in your lap.
Hey,
But,
Josh is in the chat.
Josh, believe it or not, this is actually 3 weeks growth. It's
I was
gotten
going
to
to
the
say
point
it's going
where
pretty fast right now.
Yeah, this is 3 weeks. So it's now to where the scar, you can still see the scar line, but not as clear as before. Over here, I can't even see the scar on this side.
It's my pockets.
Right?
All right, fine.
There you go.
You know
There-
what? There was a
You're
show. I'm trying to remember what it was from, but they're like saying, actually, there's a very special job for you, and it was like, take your hands, put them underneath your butt, and keep them there for the rest of the flight. It was like up in a helicopter or something.
There is actually a song that I dearly love from 1991 called "Hands in Your Pockets." It's a
What's up, man?
it's a political song. It's a political song. There. And speaking of Ed, next on Sunday, I will be a guest on his show, just like Nick was last week.
That's right. You'll have fun on that show.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see it, but here's the fun part.
Jeremy was trolling me a few times.
Here's the fun part. I get to be on his show on my birthday.
Well, look at you.
Oh, you're special.
Well, I don't know about all that, but it's gonna be fun.
So this is on your birthday, so that means you will be on. Come on, you will be on May 11th.
Yep.
Hey, Joe. Yes,
Yeah.
Jeremy said something about Jurassic Park. That's right.
Hey, Howie.
Yeah, yeah, we are getting ready. You know what? This is what I wouldn't mind seeing them do. Bring Nessie into the picture.
Oh yeah, Loch Ness monster. Okay.
If they can find DNA from that and do something with that and then put it into the Loch Ness, now you will have your Loch Ness monster.
Well,
I need
even if
to
you
do
can't do it
That's
with
the issue.
even if you
Find
can't-
it.
Yeah.
Well, even if you can't do it with Loch Ness monster, because let's not forget. I mean, that's all the way out in Scotland. We also, of course, have Champ here with Lake Champlain.
Oh,
What I think we have
that one.
is a portal.
Hey, Josh. Jeez, everyone's
Portal?
coming.
Yeah, we got
We-
a lot
we
of
have
people showing up now.
another
What happened there?
What the hell's going on?
What?
Yeah, all these folks are coming in and watching now.
All these new ones are coming up like boom, 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 one right after the other.
When it was like really quiet in the beginning.
I think it was after
Here we go
started
again
talking
with
about-
me having to click this damn button. Oh, what story was that? Oh,
what-
the
what's-
wall.
the-
Yeah.
the-
So this what my dad knew and I did not was there was a wolf escaped from the zoo about a mile down the road. That's the animal I just brought home. And so when they came with that thing, it obviously scared it. I had no idea what was going on. He didn't, if he would have communicated, that would have been great, but he did not. And I remember whoever was doing the truck, he said, we're going to have to shoot it. And what he meant was a dart gun. But I was like, no, I can walk him in. What are you trying to do? I can walk him in. My dad had a shit fit, didn't want me to walk him in. And the guy in the truck was like, he says, let her do it. If she can do it, let her do it. I said, take that thing off his neck. He did. I pushed him. Come on, let's go. I got in the truck. He got in. I got out. Nobody told me until it was all over that that was actually the leader of the pack in the wolf colony that we had in the zoo.
Oh, jeez.
That's the
Well,
one.
here's the thing, though.
Want.
Yes, in the wolf colony, he would have protected his own and been violent, but he was not with his own. He was scared.
Yeah.
So it could have went one of two ways. He could have attacked me, or he could have just been, I don't know what's going on, and decided he trusted me, which he did. From then on, when I would go to the zoo, I knew which one he was. And he would come to the fence, but he would never be, like he was then. I don't know what would have happened. They would have probably traumatized him until he was no longer the
Right.
leader. I don't know what would have happened. That's all speculation, but he never did act like he did then. I couldn't have went in there and petted him like I did when he was out. But that tells me that they have some intelligence, and they know who to trust and who not to, because the he wasn't a game warden, but just animal control. He had one job: go get him back. And he didn't care how he did it. He was going to tranquilize him, which I guess that wouldn't have been so bad, but I knew I could get him in. Why not? And but I do have to, that's all my hero story. But on the other side of that, I did kill the elephant in the zoo that was like 50 years old, because
Jeez.
I was, my sister worked there, my dad worked there, so I knew the animals a little bit. This animal reached out, grabbed the sweater that was around my waist, and I knew if I lost that sweater, my mom was going to kick my ass. So I never said anything, but the elephant took the sweater from around my waist and ate it. I didn't know it ate it. I had no idea. I just knew I was going to get in trouble. It was gone. And it ended up wrapping around its intestines and it died. I never told that story until my mom passed away. I never told that story because,
But
no,
that wasn't your fault, though.
it wasn't my fault, because I shouldn't have been that close and I should not have allowed that to happen.
Jeez.
But
So, yeah, no.
okay, maybe I can kind of see it from that, but you wouldn't have expected that.
No, but
Are
I
they
didn't know that they
normally
would know that.
creatures?
All I knew is I killed the elephant. The elephant's name was Star, and we had a huge outdoor swimming pool. And at the end of every season, when it started, they shut down the pool. They would let the elephants in the pool to go swimming. Well, they got two little elephants after that. So my dad was still, volunteering. I slept with tigers in my bed at one point, like baby tigers. But, my dad was volunteering at the zoo. So, I got close and personal with a lot of animals. But they got two babies, Asian elephants. And one of the babies took my dad's arm and slammed it down on one of the fences, broke it.
Things I gotta just show what Tom said. I think we should call
What a
things
good
911.
That would have been a good time for me to call out, hey,
I gotta
you
admit,
didn't know that was going to happen, did you?
Yeah. What were you saying, Jeremy?
that one was good.
Yeah, I like that too.
But
Cheese on top.
no, but that would have been a good time for me to say, hey, you didn't know that was going to happen, did you? And that's the same way that other elephant took, but I didn't. I did not. But those elephants were allowed to swim in that pool, and it was awesome. Now that pool is like a funland type thing where they have the
Can
play
they
areas,
swim?
the slides. Huh?
Can they swim?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like float in the water, swim.
Very well. Yep.
I'd have never guessed that.
I never
Yep.
would have either.
And everybody in the town would come and watch. It was so fun. And that's where we're going back to. Oh, here's the fun part. We're going back to, y'all know that's where Zach and I met 36 years ago. But we're going back to Garden City this weekend. We're going to stay in the motel that one of our friends, my best friends and his ex-girlfriend, her dad used to own the motel. It is no longer the Hilton, but we're going to go there, and it's still the same except the name has changed. So that should be fun. We're going to go see a whole bunch of people we used to know.
Elephant paddles. Jeez.
Why do I have to click on this to know what's going on?
I never would have guessed
Damn,
that an
click
elephant would be able to swim because of the sheer size of those things.
I've seen them stand in water, but I've never actually seen them swim.
They can. They sure can.
So now that makes me wonder if a hippopotamus can swim.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
they can. Yeah,
They float.
you see them in the water all the time. Hippopotamus.
Absolutely, they can.
Yeah, but I never saw anything that make me believe that they could float in the water. But I don't know.
I was just thinking of a video that I've actually seen involving like an elephant, I think.
Okay, so let's go back to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Which nitty gritty?
Let's think of a big fat person. Put them in the water. They're gonna float. Why? Because they have a lot of air in them. They're gonna float.
Yeah, but a person
Yes, they are mean.
has the
Yeah, they are. Hippos are like
to move
extremely
his arms and
dangerous.
legs in different directions. Some animals don't have that kind of mobility that we do.
Mobility is not necessary. Lay on your back. Hold in your air. You're gonna float.
I guess I'll have to look up some videos on that. Because I'm
Don't look
curious
up too
now.
many videos.
I was gonna say, like, seeing what everyone's saying. Yeah, hippos. They're like one of the most dangerous animals, I think, in Africa.
Oh, and Nick, boobies float.
Oh, God damn it. How'd you like that picture that I sent of that restaurant by the name of it?
Oh, and guess where they float, Nick?
In the water.
They float in the Illinois River.
Oh, nope. We are not saying that.
Too late, I already did.
We are not. Well, then in that case, we are not going there.
Um,
You know, I got to say, when you said about floating, I'm sorry, but all I was just thinking about right there was more or less involving Pennywise, say, from Stephen King's and say, we all float down here. Doc could do it better than I could.
we all float.
Yeah, Doc could do it better.
Yeah, he does the Skarsgård voice.
Yeah, he does. You can sort of do the
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry thing. He can sort of do the Tim Curry voice too.
You don't normally.
So that's y'all's assignment for the week. Jeremy, look up hippos floating. Nick,
That's what I'm going to do, but not while we're on here because we don't want the noises to go through.
Nick,
Yeah.
look up if boobies float. Actually, just look up how are women more buoyant than men?
Say, why should I?
For the same reason that you had to look up motorboating. That's exactly right. But
I'd rather go to that.
Tom,
I did look
Tom,
that
let's
up.
think about this.
I'd rather go to that restaurant, Boobies, that I sent to you guys. That picture I sent.
Would you? Would you? Because they're gonna put them in your face.
Well, from what I looked up, they actually have some pretty good food over there.
I'm sure they do. What man don't like boobies? But yes, Tom, let's think about it though. But the head stays underwater. No, not if your boobies are right there.
Well, here's the thing. In all seriousness, this one looks like one of them mom pop stores, and usually
Yeah.
those restaurants have better food.
Oh, they do.
From what I heard, I actually did look up like what people were saying about it. It's actually a pretty good restaurant. I'm just surprised I haven't been there, despite the fact it's only about 10 or 15 minutes away from me.
Well,
Oh,
look at like
In
Hooters.
Carbondale,
Huh?
Carbondale.
Carbondale? No, that's way down. So that's in Southern Illinois.
Is it? That's what popped up for me.
No, this restaurant
Oh,
Boobies.
thank
It's
you.
located. No, that's located in Niles. That's just like 10 minutes away from me. No, Carbondale is way down in Southern Illinois. That's actually
Okay,
where.
I
That's
see one
actually
in
where
Niles.
Southern. Huh?
Nick,
Niles.
Tom's gonna take you.
To that restaurant. In fact, I'll just say
No,
to Carbondale.
No, another one
Read
just
the
came up
comment.
here in Niles.
That's the one that I sent a picture of. That's from Niles.
Okay.
Yeah, Carbondale. I didn't even know there would be another restaurant by that name down there. I just know Carbondale because that's actually where Southern Illinois University is located.
Okay, that was the first one that popped up, but maybe because when I typed it in, that was the first one down underneath. So I deleted Carbondale and put down restaurant. Then Niles came on.
Yep, that was the one. Oh, okay, so I guess you were right. Yeah, Boobies Carbondale. I didn't realize there was one. I guess it's probably, yeah, I think it's an entirely different restaurant, but just by the name of it. Yeah, you're right. There's one in Carbondale. The other one, yeah, I sent to you guys. That was Niles, and it's same name but different restaurant.
Well, here's another one. This one is called Booby's Brewery, and it's spelled differently.
How's it spelled?
Bubee.
Brewery, and where is it located?
Somewhere in New England.
Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. I don't know how far that would be from like Philadelphia.
But this. Oh, that's not. Okay, now why did that come up?
Tom now, Pickle Tom would probably know. It's probably not far from his area.
Mount. Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the one.
Mount Joy.
Oh, it's Bube, 1E.
That's yeah, it's in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I'm not sure how far that is from Philadelphia.
Well, let's see here.
Southeastern Pennsylvania. I mean, it's like close to the Pennsylvania Maryland border.
See here.
That Boobies in Carbondale, by the way. I didn't realize that it's been around since the early 70s, since 1972.
Yeah, that was the one that came up on my search.
Yeah, that one, I think, the one in Niles, I think that's only been around, I think, since like, I don't even know what year that was established.
Because Booby's Brewery was actually featured on Ghost Hunters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like one of the middle years. Before Grant left, I think.
The one in Niles, that one's even older than the one down in Carbondale, because like I said, the one that's in Carbondale that was founded back in 1972. One in Niles was founded over 10 years earlier in 1961. So it's even older than the Southern Illinois one.
Let's see here. Now I'm looking at the sign for your boobies. It looks like it's got that Hank from King of the Hill on it.
I didn't think of it that way, but okay.
How in the hell is everything going out of business? I know Red Lobster is
Red
going out.
Lobster's going out of business?
Oh yeah, it closed down all the locations here.
Oh, geez, I didn't know anything about that.
Well, Red Lobster is a little on the pricey side.
Yeah, it usually is.
Oh no, not compared to. Mm-mm. It was reasonable compared to like Joe's Crab Shack or anything like that.
Okay. Red Lobster, May 2024, closed at least 99 of its restaurants, then filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy petition after securing over $100 million in financing commitments from its lenders.
Chapter 11. Okay. That's not so bad. That's
Yeah.
restructuring.
That's the one that's supposed to save everything. I think
Mhm.
Chapter 7 is the one where you lose
That's
it.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weight Watchers filed Chapter 11.
Really?
Yep. Oprah backed out, and that was the end.
Jeez.
Yep.
Well,
Everybody on the Weight Watchers page was freaking out. You know, what are we going to do without the app? Which the app is absolutely essential
No,
because it gives us our points.
Another OG Florida establishment. Is that where Red Lobster started in Florida?
I would imagine, or Joe's Crab Shack, because you know that's it's seafood, and that's the only way we could get seafood anywhere.
see,
Seafood.
Tom says they're having Lobster Fest now.
Joe's Crab Shack originated in Houston, Texas.
In Texas, okay.
Okay, so that's still close to Galveston, close enough to get lobster.
Braxton says in this area, in that part of Louisiana, there's a restaurant called Shane's Seafood and Shavers.
Braxton, oh no, this is Mississippi.
Well, Braxton, he's in Louisiana, so I wouldn't, obviously the Cajun food and stuff.
Particular brand that I went to, but that Eileen took me to, but that was in Mississippi. It's called Tony's Diner, but it was a locally owned place. I don't know why I was thinking it was in Louisiana.
Okay.
For a minute in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, I thought I was going to get to go to a Shoney's restaurant.
To a what?
Shoney's.
Oh, Shoney's. Okay.
Yeah. Because there was where I was staying, there used to be a Shoney's right across the street, but they closed. And because we were all looking for a place to go eat, and all that we could find was Chinese. And finally, I found a Golden Corral.
Golden Corral, of course.
But there was a Shoney's restaurant across the street from where I was staying, but it closed down, and I looked it up, and the nearest Shoney's there was an hour and a half away.
Braxton knows a Shoney's. He said he hasn't seen one in a good long time, so they probably used to have them also in Louisiana.
Well, there is one south of Baton Rouge. I know that. Other things that happened in the news in Dominican Republic, and actually Braxton brought this up. In Dominican Republic, there was a roof collapse in a nightclub.
Oh.
The initial report that I saw was that 100 people were killed. Now I'm reading 220 people were killed.
Was this like from an earthquake or something, or like what exactly happened?
I don't know.
Boo Shack? I've never heard of that.
It's in Virginia, apparently, what Tom said.
Let's see. Something fell from the ceiling. No, I'm not seeing anything about an earthquake. But
So it might have
if
just
there
been
was an earthquake, there would have been
a
a
lot more
report
damage.
of, yeah.
So it's probably just like an old building or something, and the roof just collapsed.
I
Yeah,
don't.
like what Sean says, probably just a freak accident.
It might have been the set the Jet Set nightclub. When
Remember there was a shooting in, it was all over the news, but in Denver there was an LGBTQ club that I think it was actually called the Q, that there was a shooting there, I guess 2 years ago now. And one of the girls that I used to work with, maybe it was 3 years ago now. Wow. One of the girls that I worked with, was her husband was military and was overseas, so she was taking on kind of a second job to stay busy, and she was shot, and
Ooh,
she still is not back to work.
yeah.
I'm thinking she had a spinal injury, but she was a door greeter. So yeah, nightclubs are really getting it. And of
No,
course, if you're sectionalized, such as, LGBTQ, or anything really, cowboy, it's getting.
there's another story this past week involving um, that community. Uh, Famous people in that nightclub. There were two guys from Major League Baseball that died in that accident.
one of the older White Sox players died in that roof, and that's one of our Chicago baseball teams. So I didn't know anything
Wow.
about that either. That a White Sox player was there.
I don't know which one this one was, but he was a World Series champion.
It's awful.
Yeah. But yeah, 220 people were killed in that thing. That's wow. The
That's horrible.
the Jet Set Club was built 50 years ago.
Okay, so it was probably almost like at its expiration date in a way where they probably didn't really check to see if it needed to be replaced.
Not that old of a building.
Yeah, but you have to remember, I mean, and it's the same like with dams too. All buildings, especially as they get older, do have kind of like expiration dates, and they always have to be inspected every now and then to make sure that it's safe for people to enter. If they don't, then you get disasters like that.
Well,
Hence,
I'm
you have this
sure.
issue.
It is in the tropics, so I'm sure that the constant heat probably wasn't.
Yeah, and that's the thing too with the roof being exposed to the elements. That could also contribute to such disasters like that.
I'm sure, though, if there's a chance that part of the inspections are mandatory every few years, or maybe they
Yeah.
just didn't get checked.
In this
I
case, if
don't
it's in
know,
the
but
If it's in the Dominican Republic, I'm not sure. Basically, like it's
yeah,
probably most likely
with
their
their
laws are
laws.
probably different there than they are over here. So I'm not, and obviously, I don't know what those laws would be in the Dominican Republic compared to here. But that I'm sure they probably had some type of regulation for it, but unfortunately, they probably just never fell through. But that's just a theory I could think of.
That's, yeah.
Now the other big
That's
thing
for
that's
the
been going on this past week, and it falls in the community that you were talking
Rivers.
about, Adrian. The whole uh, fencing team incident. Have you guys heard
Yeah.
about that one?
No.
This one here, the sport fencing, the sword thing.
Pickle Tom's in the house.
Hi Tom. A girl refused to fence another person who is a trans woman, and
Uh-huh.
refused to fence her uh, because on the ground that she's not a biological female.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, there was a discussion between the two, and the trans woman said that there was support from a member of the tournament board. Well, anyway, um, Go got disqualified, and next thing I know, I just read this on here. The trans girl is now no longer on the other team's roster.
Hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure what happened there. Um, but folks, we're not here to try to persuade or dissuade any opinions, just telling the facts.
Yeah, there's so much going on right now
Yeah.
with all that. I wish they just settle on something. Make a rule across the board, settle on something.
I think that probably the best thing to do is to create a trans division. That might be the best way all around.
I would actually tune into that. That would be awesome.
Yeah, because the actual women are refusing to compete against trans women. I don't
Hmm.
blame them,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Depending on the sport, because it is scientifically known, born women have better eyes as far as like shooting, targeting than men do. I don't know. I would have issues with certain sports, but like Joshua said, fucking stop killing people.
Yeah.
I don't care if you want to be a damn dog. Stop killing. That is not our place. That is not any human's place to hurt another human. It's just not. If you don't like it, walk away. You don't have to have it in your life. You don't have to have it in your circle. Walk the fuck away. Is it hurting you? No, not if you walk the hell away. I don't understand the violence. I really don't. I don't. I think that's a thing of what do they call that? Little dick syndrome. Where these
Oh my
these
God.
little cowboys. No, no, no. You're about to get a listen, Nick. These cowboys with the big old belt buckles, because they're trying to prove something. Those big old belt buckles, they're a tombstone for dead dicks.
Oh
I
my
promise you.
God.
That's exactly what they are. The thing is, it's trying to prove something. The people that are trying to kill people are afraid of their own, I'm not going to say sexuality, but they're afraid of their own identity. Why would you hurt somebody else? I'm friends with 10 different kinds of people that identify with 10 different kinds of species, whatever. It doesn't matter. If I can do it at my age, as Braxton so nicely pointed out, guys, everybody can do it. Stop. There is no point in this bullshit. Either be friends with somebody or walk away. You don't need to hurt nobody.
My
No reason.
my thing has always been, if it doesn't affect you in some way, it shouldn't matter.
No. And it shouldn't affect you.
Yeah.
If it is affecting you, figure out how, fix it, go away.
Now I just pulled up a video here. Somebody actually caught the helicopter falling into the river. And I don't see a tail on it.
Yeah, Braxton, that's exactly what Jeremy said, let them have their own league.
Yeah, that's the thing. Now, going with league. So in January, I think it was. Now, I'm a bowler, so naturally I follow the um, United States Bowling Congress pages and all of that, and the tournament page, the national tournament that I went to in Louisiana 3 weeks ago. There was because of the mandate that Trump had put out, keeping biological men out of women's sports. So the USBC, which also handles the women's national tournament, I think they're in Nevada this year, said that biological men who have transitioned to women are now no longer eligible to compete in their tournament. Um, and this
Okay.
year they had, I think, 12 of them who were signed up to compete in this tournament, and they had to inform them, hey, because of the new executive order, you can't compete in this anymore. Um, I'm sure that wasn't a pleasant conversation for either side, but USBC had no choice but to comply because they are a national governing sports body, and they must adhere to executive orders like that. Now, however, these trans women can compete in the tournament that I was in because it's open to everybody.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you're male, female, trans, it does not matter.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
only thing that does matter is how old you are. You have to be, I think you can be as young as 16 with parents' consent.
Yes. That's what it is. 16.
So,
That's okay.
yeah,
But in all reality,
kids of that age have gone in and competed.
the way this world is right now, I would not want to be a leader of any sort because there is so many things to consider and so many feelings you're going to hurt no matter which way you go.
Yep.
I couldn't do it. Personally, I can do it because I can see all sides. I understand all sides. I I couldn't do it. And bless the ones that can. I can't.
It's not the easiest thing in the world, and believe me, I've had to have certain conversations with certain people. Um, it's not great, but like in the case when I had to release a certain person,
Hmm.
I had to do it for the betterment of the situation.
Right, and that's what's hard. That is the hard part of being a leader of anything.
Yeah, especially when you consider that person to be a friend.
Right, that's even
But
worse.
it is. It really is. But the thing is, when you become a leader, you have to accept those responsibilities and know that just being a leader is not all roses and candy.
No, it's not. Absolutely not. Oh, Braxton, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
What did he say? I didn't.
There's a Samoan
Oh.
island where some boys are raised to be women.
Oh
The
wow.
belief
Okay.
of a third gender called fa
Often,
alpha alphafine. That's
Wonder if
actually
that's
really
in.
interesting.
I wonder if that's in the U.S. territory of America's Samoa or the. I know there's another
Samoan.
either America's Samoa or just Samoa because there's another one nearby that's the same one that's not a U.S. territory.
my brothers, well, my brothers are more into this. My sisters and my brothers are, they're more from Ethiopia. Their dad was from Ethiopia, and of course, mom was white as I am, and they actually married for his citizenship and ended up being together, but actually being together. But my brothers, it's funny, they have on their fingers Island Boy on their hands. And the culture, they got to meet their actual family, which I am so thrilled. They got to meet their real family. Oh wow, yay! Um, but they have those tattoos, Island Boy, and here in the U.S. they grew up as thugs.
Oh,
They didn't grow up that way. They ended up that way, huh?
that duo, Island Boys.
Island Boys, yeah.
Oh yeah,
It
I see. They are so ridiculous.
it was more for Island Boy was more for the Ethiopian side of their culture is what they did it for. But it was funny because they got to meet their culture. Here they thought they needed to be thugs and whatever else they thought they needed to be. When they met their culture, Island Boy was something completely different. It was respect. It was, loving your culture and respect for your family, respect for the land, respect for, they had a whole different ideal of how they should act. And they did end up, acting a whole lot better. But, it's a lot of it is what we're fed and what we're supposed to act according to culture. If we would just act ourselves and not worry about how we're supposed to act, I think life would be a whole lot better. Yeah. Yes, the murderers, the rapists, the whatever else, they'd come out in a minute and that'd be the end of it and they're gone. But, we'd respect each other and we may be different, but that's what's amazing, that we are different and we can learn from each other and move on.
Okay,
I don't know. We've gotten way too crazy.
I just brought up that Samoan thing that Braxton was talking about, the Afafine,
Hmm.
are Natal
Excuse me.
are Natal males, which is male born
Hmm.
as males, who align with a third gender or feminine gender role in Samoa. They are not assigned the role at birth or raised as girls due to lack of daughters, but
Okay.
rather the femininity. Femin,
Femininity?
Adrian obviously sounded like she was able to say it better.
emerges in early childhood, and Samoans recognize them as distinct from typical boys. So that is very much how same as how it is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and it's the same kind of like the same thing in what they do in um, with Native Americans, that they call them Two Spirit. So yeah.
Well,
Learning all kinds of new terms
What was
today.
that Josh here said? Eunuchs or the hell is that?
eunuch,
The hell is that?
they don't date other Philippines. They only go for straight men. Okay. Okay.
Interesting.
Yentl?
Yentl. What's Yentl? What the hell are these
You
words?
guys, after every damn show, I need to go look up shit and learn
Yeah,
shit.
I've never heard
You.
of any of this.
No, I love it because then you're open and learn new things.
Yeah, you really do.
So that kind of begs the question: if they only go after straight men, how does that work? Because technically, it is a man going after straight men. How does that work?
I don't know how. I couldn't tell you, to be honest with
It
you.
depends because
But
okay,
look at it from the other guy's point of view. You have somebody who is biologically a male, you know, um, what, what is it? Biologically a male interested in you, but if you're a straight man, you're not going to want any part of that.
well, but here's the thing. Let's look at it. Why is it so socially accepted for women to be with other women? Guys think that's a huge turn on. Why is that so socially accepted, but men on men is not?
I've heard that
So
actually from. I've heard that from a show, a TV show. Somebody who was like saying something involving that. It's like saying
yeah,
like, see, he says like it's okay when it's ever like two girls making out. It
right,
seems pretty hot. But when
right.
it's ever two guys making out, it's like that's the worst thing ever in the world. Which is, you know,
I think it's because the viewer doesn't want to see male genitals. He
What
wants
viewer don't? Oh,
female
never
body
mind.
parts, so seeing two of them at the same time, that's what he wants. So
Maybe the male viewers don't, but
yeah.
you're forgetting the female viewers. No, but the thing is, like, you hear stories, all through the generations, you hear stories about women in college and what they experimented with, right? So, but you don't hear that about men.
Like guy
Does that mean it didn't happen? Absolutely not. It means that it's not talked about because it's not socially accepted.
Yeah.
Now that more things are being socially accepted, they're being discussed. Now, do I agree with a man with a penis walking because he identifies as a woman walking into the bathroom with me or my
That's right,
grandbaby?
Josh.
Absolutely fucking not. No. But that's why they made family bathrooms so that can happen in family bathrooms. They can go in whatever. No. There's a lot, of course. But, so many things are just now coming to light. Even back in the 15th century, I'm learning that some of our biggest warriors may have been women disguised as men because women were not allowed to do what they do. Now, back in Viking days, there were shield maidens.
who was talking about? Somebody was talking about this very thing. Something about a general who, after the fact, people now suspect was a woman. Um, but I don't know what war it was from. I think it was from the 1800s. Uh,
Mhm.
I wish I could remember the conversation, but it was a famous general.
Who
Now,
was thought to be a woman?
yes,
Hold on. I think I know
Tom,
exactly
see
who
what
you're
Tom
talking about.
All right, I'm calling things 911. Hey, Sticks boy.
Hey, Chuck.
It's what?
His name is Chuck.
Oh, Chuck. I forgot that's what his name. Not sure why. I forgot that was Chuck who messaged through that.
Yeah, he was originally a viewer for Myth or Mystery,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and then he started coming over here and checking out some of the other shows on the network.
Well, that's
It was
awesome.
Lafayette.
General Lafayette.
Was it General?
I can't remember if it was General or not, but he was.
Centuries.
Well, he was Revolutionary War. He was who the French sent over, and he and Washington had one hell of a relationship. They were best of friends.
Not relationship.
No, not relationship. No,
Okay.
no,
We're going to clear that up right now.
no, not relationship. but
Professional.
It's not, he was a woman.
First speculation, he's a woman. He was a woman. So
Okay.
because of his aloofness, and they've never discovered his body.
I
he
agree,
also-
Braxton.
He also had like larger breasts, you know, as a thin man. Yeah, no, mine are man boobs. So, but
You don't even know what I'm laughing at.
No, I'm laughing more at what Zach is saying.
No, is what was going on camera that you. Never mind.
so, but yeah, and he never hung out with any of the guys. He never did the things that guys do, like he never walked into the woods and pissed with another guy or anything like that. So there's speculation he could have been a female. So,
Now,
but he was very important. If it wasn't for him and his teachings, we'd probably still be sipping tea.
yeah, I used to
Like,
think that we should have had that. With all the presidents that we've had, and the kind of last names that we've had, I've always felt like we should have had a President Lafayette.
I know. I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah. Now, not necessarily the general that we're talking about.
Yeah, no, this is a different.
Somebody-
Yeah, Sean, there was one where they went and they studied his tomb, the tomb that was dedicated to him, to where it was supposed to be him buried there, and they found bones, but I don't think it was.
Was he he wasn't the one that they killed the people that buried him and then killed those people that
No,
killed them?
no. That was Genghis Khan.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was sound more like Genghis Khan.
We were listening to that last night, so I had to get the history on that because I go to sleep before I hear the story.
and Genghis Khan is another interesting story.
Yeah, from Mongolia.
Mhm.
He was trying to
But,
spread the Mongolian.
that tells us it goes way back,
Yeah, I mean,
way back
well,
in
in
history.
his case, he was trying to spread the Mongolian Empire.
Well, the thing,
He didn't try, Nick. He did. He's still got. I mean, he's got thousands upon thousands of descendants.
I'm not surprised.
the Mongolian Empire at one time was the largest empire in the world.
It was.
Yes.
It really was.
He conquered more land than even the Roman Empire did.
You guys probably may know this. Maybe you guys, well, Zach, you probably may know this actually. I mean, it sounds off topic, but it's going to go right back to it. If you even look at let's say the motorcycle club, the Mongols, they're named after Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
That's where their name came from. In fact,
Oh, yeah.
their logo was supposed to be Genghis Khan
Yeah.
riding a motorcycle, but they got that all belief from Genghis Khan himself.
Yeah, that's based off Genghis Khan. Yeah, so
Surprisingly, they don't have a chapter in Mongolia. I'm really surprised by that.
Well, there's,
oh, don't say they don't. You never know where they're at.
Yeah,
So-
it's true.
don't forget. You also need to consider that there are secret societies out there that nobody knows about. So who knows?
Probably still people out there. I was going to say there's probably still believers out there in groups,
Right,
secret groups, like you
Joshua.
said, that still believe in Genghis Khan's beliefs.
There is also another thing in the news that I forgot about. Tuesday morning, a volcano exploded in the Philippines.
I thought I saw something about that too. There was a volcano that exploded.
Yeah, it says here that ash was sent into the sky approximately 2.5 miles.
Oh
Yeah.
wow! Well,
And
not
see,
only
Nick, one of the things that Genghis allowed is when he took over a village, they could still maintain their religion. They
that makes more
they
sense.
didn't have to worship the living blue sky or the giant blue sky. They could still continue Christianity or Muslim or whatever.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
allowed them as long as they would pay tribute to him. And of course, I mean, but yeah, he did things like light birds on fire and send them in to burn down villages. The guy's a damn genius, but he's a little bit of a wackadoo too.
That's what I've heard. I mean, he was kind of he's kind of viewed differently from different folks.
Yeah.
Tom,
Well,
what did you send me?
Yeah, I saw what Tom sent to me too. I didn't waste them. I deleted it. There was something else I was going to say. God damn it! Now I can't remember what it was. Now,
Tom's got you all flustered.
yeah, he does. Thanks, Tom. Oh my god, what the hell was it that I was going to say?
Oh my God.
Okay, let's see. Something else that's
Well,
happening.
well, it's not exactly everything that I was going to say, but one more thing too about this whole thing, like with Genghis Khan. I mean, I was just watching a video. I don't know if you guys have been getting these reels lately, like involved in like different countries, just interesting facts of like the past, and they say like for the future or something like that. They talked about at one point how when Genghis Khan also was trying to expand his empire and try to make Mongolia much bigger than what it is now. They said that might have been the largest occupation in this case of one country ever, which occupied a good portion of what is now modern day Russia, along with some of the other Asian countries. And it's just amazing of like how big it originally went from that side all the way
to some of the European countries.
European country. Yeah, you're right. Even parts of Europe too. It's amazing how it went from extremely large to the size that it is today, like much smaller than it was several centuries ago.
Look at the British Empire. Look
The
how
British
big.
Empire did that too.
Yeah, and same with the Romans. The way that Genghis Khan is looked at, it is the exact same as what Vlad the Impaler was.
Yep, that's correct. I was just thinking that too.
In
Like
their
Genghis
respective
Khan,
countries, they are seen as heroes, national heroes, but outside their countries, they're seen as the biggest villains there ever were.
I see them more as anti-heroes, as I would probably say. Like there were some good things about them, but there were also some bad things about them.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
I would probably agree. Attila the Hun. I don't really know anything about Attila the Hun.
I don't know that one. Well, and that's basically. I think in the end, yeah, like you said, the British Empire and the Romans and everything else, yeah, they occupied obviously quite a lot of territories, including even other parts of the world. But I think Genghis Khan and his Mongolian Empire, I think they probably had the biggest spread than even the British Empire did.
Yes, Mongolian Empire did have the largest.
Yeah, I think they were the largest than any other country.
And another thing to realize is that neither of them knew that any other place existed. They had no idea of North or South America. They had no idea of Australia.
Yep.
I'm sure they had an idea of the African continent.
probably to some degree, maybe not the entire continent, but probably part of it.
Yeah, but they had no clue of the rest of the world.
Yeah, they probably thought that at that time they probably thought they were the only land masses that existed. They probably didn't even know about, well, obviously, as we call it over here, we have the West Indies. Obviously, this would be the East Indies. So they probably didn't even know about the East Indies, like, as well as like Japan and Philippines and among other places.
Mongolia was probably aware of Japan because it's pretty close.
That's true, yeah. Hey, Grizzly.
Um,
King Hannibal, African king, came close to bringing down the Roman Empire.
I've never heard of.
I've never heard of that either.
No, I've never heard of Hannibal. What'd you get?
No, it was what Tom. I got a message back from Tom Nally. It was involving our Minecraft chat.
Oh, that Tom. Okay.
That Tom.
I thought you were saying that Tom had sent you another picture.
No, thank God he didn't.
Okay, y'all. Should we call it
Where
tonight?
Tom finds these things. You guys ready to call it a night?
I need to because we got to get up early tomorrow.
I
Oh,
gotta
yeah,
ask
that's right. You got to go to the gym.
And we're traveling this weekend.
Adrian. I gotta ask real quick before we go, because you were saying this in the chat, and I was just trying to catch up with everything you guys were. So there's some Paracon that's happening in New Mexico, or
Oh yeah, we're working on a Paracon in New Mexico. Yeah.
you guys gonna have it like in Albuquerque, or do you guys have any idea like where you're gonna have it at?
Yeah. It's actually going to be in Las Cruces, I believe.
Oh, okay. That would be the first for New
That's the one
Mexico.
that Jan brought up about a year or so ago.
Yep, and we're redoing it now. Yeah, because some people tried to be sneaky, and now we're redoing it.
There's always that group of people.
There is, and they're long gone.
That would be the first to
It's
see.
actually not going to be a Paracon. We're not calling it that. It's going to be more like a learning, because so many people are coming to their gifts now and more open to them, especially since COVID. They had to sit with themselves, so they realize that maybe they do have some gifts, whether they know what it is or not. So it's going to be more of a teaching.
More of a symposium.
Yeah, it's going to be a teaching, and if they want to learn about their gifts, we're going to help them with it. We're going to do, Jan and I are going to be doing what we got was a hotel, and it's shut down for just this time for the weekend. That Monday, it's going under construction, but that hotel is reportedly haunted. So we're going to do investigations. Jan and I are going to be leading investigations during that time, which tickets are only, I want to say they're $25 with the investigation. So they're really not bad at all.
No.
And we're going to have vendors and things like that there. We're going to do healers, classes, things like that.
Being in New Mexico, this is one that Jill should think about going to.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I don't expect to get a lot of people simply because it's so late in the game, but it is going to be fun.
Nick?
Wait, oh, Kelly. Haven't
Yeah.
seen her. Oh my God, haven't seen her in a long
Get off
time.
your phone.
Wait, what?
She's telling you to get off your phone.
Yeah, I know, because I got him again. I was trying to tell Tom that I was on a show. Oh yeah, that's right, Tom McNicholas. Yeah, he
He's
has
right
his
here.
Paracon Spook Show Con that we did a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put out the flyers here before long, but It's going to be neat. I think we're going to have a lot of locals, and then because we should have been advertising this long ago.
Especially since
So
it's going to be in June.
yeah,
So that's not a whole lot of.
right. So I don't expect a whole lot, but honestly, all the proceeds are going to go to one of, I'm not going to say the biggest, but
Ah,
a huge supporter of the paranormal, and he passed away not long ago, and all the proceeds are going to his family. He
Okay.
was very young, so it's for a good cause, and if people are learning something, even if one person learns something, it's worth it. It's
Usually,
not costing us anything.
if I
That's
was,
that's the main thing. So,
if I was able to get
whoever we
down,
get to see, it'll be awesome.
if I was able to get down to New Mexico for this, I definitely would go.
It's gonna be interesting, that's for sure. And at least some of the old crew will be able to get together and we'll get to meet some new ones.
well, definitely take pictures and video.
Oh hell yeah. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely want to see how it turns out.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, we will go ahead and call it a night. Been a very interesting conversation.
Yeah. It was really interesting.
Never
That's
know
all I
what
gotta
it
say.
Yeah, especially some of the pictures that we got. I'm pretty sure Nick said picture was more for you than they.
Movies, Nick.
It's not exactly what you thought it was.
Please.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for playing along with us. And next week we will talk about something else.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
We always find something, don't we?
It's been a while
It
since we've
always
had any guests.
involves boobies.
At
Yeah.
least I'm
Well,
just glad Eileen's not here to taunt me with how she says our state name wrong. And Jeremy, before you say it, I'm stopping you before you do.
well,
Illinois?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it.
see, we will never have a show without Illinois. We will never
I,
have a
I,
show. We will
you
never
you
have.
don't need to say it that way.
Okay, well, let's think about it this way. It can always say Illinois, 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 Illinois. And guess what? You can't say nothing. We can't hear you.
How did my mic get muted?
Exactly. All right, folks. We will see you all next week. Have a good weekend. Have a safe weekend. And anything else to follow?
I think
But I
we're
can think of.
good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Oh, and don't forget this Sunday night I will be on the Orion Effect
Oh,
over
that's
at
right.
Revolution. So be sure to check that out.
Let's hope it's able to go on. They've had some issues on all kinds of platforms.
Yeah, I had seen that we're still having issues on ours, and then on Nick, it was 20 minutes into the show before he came on.
Wait, what?
When you were on Ed's show last week.
No, there was like an introduction that was like playing before that. I had got in like relatively early, and I'm just
No,
like, what is all this?
there's been networks that because of what the show content is, it got removed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It
that's
happened
also
to Ed.
happening on YouTube too.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
And it was like something so ridiculous as they were doing what was it? It was like the stars and how they aligned and how that could maybe have influenced a murder. So they said that we were influencing and, making a murderer a hero type thing. And it's like, where are you getting this shit? So yeah, there's been a lot of issues.
One of our shows was removed because well, I was talking about Angelia and the genetics testing that we did.
Right.
They were saying medical misinformation. No,
Right.
it was not.
Right.
I appealed it and they reinstated everything. Yeah, that one really pissed me off.
Yeah, I think they shut down Ed's show while it was happening.
Oh, that really sucks.
No, they didn't shut it down.
Oh,
while
they didn't shut it down?
That was let's see, a few weeks later.
Good night, Tom.
Night, Tom.
Good night. On February 21st.
This happened just this week.
Well, I didn't get the notification until last week. But the email had gone into the Supernatural Talk email, which I don't access but maybe once a month. That's
Right.
why it wasn't until long after. Then I appealed it right away, and they said, "Yeah, you're right. This is not medical misinformation." Well, no
Yeah.
shit. I'm talking about exactly what the doctor said.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I saw Ed. He came on. He said, "Hey, the show won't be on tonight because we got shut down."
Yeah. All right, folks, we're gonna go ahead and head on out. Have a good night and a good weekend, and we will see you all next week.
You guys have a good night.